You lead with the right intentions, but you have no control on what happens on the other side. So you can make the most beautiful cake, like the cutest, blah, 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 for whomever. But if they hate it, they hate it. If they like it, they like it.
Happens more often than you'd think.
Right, but it's not yours. You led with, you didn't set out to make the worst cake in the world. No, you set out to make the best cake in the world. And that's your intention. And then that's it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Screw It, Let's Do This podcast. I'm your host, Shelby.
And I'm your other host, Therese. And today we have Shawn. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you give everyone a little introduction about who you are? Because if I tried, it would be a mess because there's so many things you are and have done. So Shawn, tell us about you a little bit.
Would love to. Well, first of all, this last half an hour was kind of fun. So we should have probably recorded some
I wish we did. I wish we did. We already talked about so many good things that we're going to re-hit on and pretend we don't already know.
So right now, primarily, I'm a purpose coach, which is really just, I help people get their stuff done, right? I help people just kind of like find the things that they really love in life and figure it out. So that's one thing. And then I teach yoga. And I'm a strength coach. And then recently, my husband and I started a mediation company, not meditation. So yeah, that's a true thing. So
I would have got that mixed up.
Because of what I do, they think it's meditation, which is kind of interesting. Like it could be like meditative mediation, which could really go really well together. But he's an attorney. So anyways, we started a mediation practice.
Wow.
And, yeah.
And that's to help people through difficult situations.
Instead of going to court, for instance. Like to go through court for divorce or a business dispute, or like say the two of you want to have your own podcast and you had this big argument, but you still want to be friends. Yeah.
We both did the same thing.
You did, right? So you still want to have that friendship, right? You would hire somebody like a mediator, a neutral, who would come in and say, all right, let's hear what you have to say. Let's hear what you have to say. Can we together come up with a solution?
So it's kind of like therapy.
Yeah.
Well, like a pinch.
But it's before court. It's before court.
No, before court. But before you go to court.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said like before the court.
No, before you go to court. So it's like
you try and avoid court.
Yes.
It's quicker, it's easier, it's less expensive. And there's not somebody who's not involved in your party coming up with the end result. Like you have a say, which is the biggest deal. It's like you have a say in the end result.
Well, hopefully we don't need your services.
Yeah,
but it's good to know that if we ever did, we would call you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a neutral.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I bet you're amazing at that. But apart from like those things that you are right now, you also have been a ton of things in the past. We know you've been a parole officer. You've been a NFL, what is it called?
Agent.
An NFL agent.
That shocks me. I don't need to hear about that, but we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like everything you've done, I've never heard of people doing. Or even the desire.
Okay.
Well, I don't.
Especially combined. Like that.
Okay.
I mean, you hear about an NFL agent.
Yeah, but I'm 52.
You hear about this.
So I've lived twice
You look like you're 34.
Okay.
You look like you're 34. So it's really hard to wrap my mind around. You've done so many things in your life.
Right. I mean, that's part of it, right?
Yeah. So, but it feels like you've done a lot of things that you put yourself right in the middle of intense situations. It's like parole officer and end up like that stuff sounds cutthroat, and a mediator. Like what got you into all of these things? I want to hear your background.
Have you always been like this from when you were little? Like, have you always kind of like this?
I've always been a little bit of a leader, like an organizer, even in my neighborhood. Like it was me and like 6 boys. I was the oldest. So naturally, I kind of just took over control. But I really like to organize people. I like to make everybody feel included. So it probably started young. And then after that, I just, what it boils down to is problem solving and helping people problem solve. I like it. Like, I feel I'm much better at solving your problems than I am mine. Now, I've been doing a hell of a lot of work on my own, but I think I'm much better at solving other people's problems.
Do you ever get sick of solving other people's problems?
No, I like it.
Really?
I was going to say, I feel like you have that in common.
No,
People go to you to solve problems.
I love solving problems.
Me.
And I agree. Like I can hear people's stuff and, I'm more logical than I am emotional. So when I hear people's stuff, I'm like, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
I feel 100%. Like I do that with my own life, but there are some people's problems where I can only hear them so much.
Well, they just don't want to change. Right.
No,
we've had a talk.
Only some situations.
That's a good friend.
Yeah. But like, I guess you get to a point probably with close people in your life. I meant for me at least, where I'm like,
harder
okay,
with close people because you're in it with them. right? And it's hard to see change in somebody else when you're so close, because it's even harder for them to change in your eyes because you expect them to be in that role. So you kind of play a part of that. I'm not saying you necessarily to, right, to Shelby, but it's just when you're so close to somebody, it is hard to see them change because you're still trying to fit them in the box that you fit them in. Like, this is how you see them. So that's why it's harder for the close people to help people with change. And it's easier for strangers at times. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you like to problem solve.
I like to problem solve.
You were a leader.
I like to tell people what to do. Right.
I love that. And where's your neighborhood? You said you were a leader in your neighborhood. Are you from this area?
Right near Appleton and Green Bay, Kaukauna.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the Kaukauna Ghosts.
Oh,
they're no longer that.
Wow.
Now there's something else because they had to change that. Yeah. I forget what they are now.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so what brought you here? Where did you go after you grew up in Kaukauna?
I'll make
Where'd
this
you go?
fast.
Okay.
So I went to school in Indiana. I met my husband there. I was pretending I was from Australia.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
With an accent?
With an accent?
I tell you.
To him? Only to him?
Well, to whoever was at the party, because when we walked in, my best friend described me as her foreign exchange student from Australia. So I was like, let's do it, right? Like,
and
here
you
we
have
go.
that good of an accent.
I did at
Can
the time.
you do it now?
Hello, what's your name? I mean, that's about as good as you get. And I knew nothing else about Australia.
Yeah.
That was it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there was cocktails involved.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
you get
it's your
really good
trick,
at that stuff. Yeah. So that was Indiana. Stayed there. I went back to grad school. He went to law school. We decided to move to Colorado. We were there for like 9 years, just like living that life, right? And then that's when we started. He got into the NFL business. They moved us for a very short time out to Reston, DC. Reston, DC, like 8-9 months. Decided that wasn't the place. We would start our own company. He's from South Bend. I'm from near the Fox Cities. So the Fox Valley. So Madison looked like the place to be. That's how I showed up here.
Wait, so he got into the NFL. You guys moved to DC. So you guys were with a different company and decided to break off and do that in your own way.
Yeah. So he was an attorney. He wasn't interested in practicing law at the time. There was an agent that was there that was like, come work for me. You've got to basically make cold calls, which is the hardest thing. Like trying to get college kids to talk to you and their parents. He stuck with it. They moved us out to DC so he could work with him. And at that time I had just had my son and I was in PR at the time. And I just really didn't have a job. So I started helping and working with the players doing their off the field. So community service stuff, their branding, their marketing, public relations, just because I needed something else to do. And then this guy was headed to China right after we got there and wanted us to like do something. I forget. He wanted us to move to Kansas City or something. And we're like, so the two of us were doing all the work. And we said, well, why don't we just do this, make our own, and we'll move back to Madison. Or we'll move to Madison.
So you can do that
Start our own
anywhere.
company.
Like because there's not like an NFL team here. So you can
Right.
do that anywhere, kinda?
Right. Because, I mean, you're working with, we had, players from West Coast and East Coast and anything in between. So
Did you have to travel all the time?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yep. Quite a bit.
I just can't even imagine getting into that. So what I imagine is this.
Yeah.
You're scouting out good players and then you call them and say, hey, I want to represent you.
That's basically how it works.
But-
Did you see Jerry Maguire?
No.
No.
Okay, because that's way old. All right.
Don't even know what that is.
Maybe people in that watch this, the olders, right? The elders will know Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
And that's a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with
There's
Tom
a baseball
Cruise.
one.
Bro,
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
baseball
I don't
one that
watch
was
a lot
more
of
recent
movies.
with Clint Eastwood where he was like the recruiter. But I kind of know.
Okay.
So were you a football fan or did you just get kind of thrown into it and were like,
Not
first
necess-
down?
I mean, I've liked sports for sure. And Scott my husband, played Div 3 football, right? I mean, that's a totally different story. No, so you didn't have to be a diehard football fan. He was really good at recruiting players, and I was really good at working with the players. Just understanding like their needs. I had worked with I was always like the person right behind the other person in charge. So whether it was like the CEO of the company, of the organization, or working with representatives in the legislature. So I was good at being that person right behind and like setting them up for success, right? Kind of doing the intros and getting them to the place that they needed to be and then doing thank yous and follow-ups. So that was comfortable for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who were your biggest players, I guess, that people might know that you worked with?
Right. So the biggest was Kaepernick. And then beyond that, Jason Kelsey, he's still playing with the Eagles. Connor Barwin.
Isn't he like brothers with Travis?
Yeah.
Do you have his number?
I do. Well, actually, I
Jesus.
probably do. Yeah.
We need you to make
He's
this
in the
literally-
Travis.
Okay, this cannot be in there. But I'm on TikTok all the time because I'm a TikTok girl.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey. Cookies. Travis Kelsey.
So how long did you do NFL recruiting?
Yeah.
We ran an agency, right? So Scott was an agent and I did all the marketing. And then we had another agent that worked with us and we eventually hired another marketing woman too. So we did that for like 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Out of Madison.
We were based out of Madison. We named it XAM Sports, which is Max backwards. That was our first kid.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was named after him.
Cute.
Oh, wow. And that, I feel like that must have been really cutthroat.
Very.
So
Yeah.
can you explain?
Because everybody wants to work with professional athletes.
Yes.
Well,
right?
have you seen the new movie, the Nike movie, where they're like,
Yes. And that
so
was
is it
spot
kind of
on.
like that?
Okay. Yeah. So let's get back to that since you
Yes.
don't know Jerry Maguire.
I saw the Nike movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot, Scott and I watched it. There was a lot of similarities. Yes. Especially the 80s references were like perfect for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's similarities in that. So you are correct.
So like trying to like get them
To schmooze them a
a
little
car, get them
Well,
this.
Yeah. I mean, and that wasn't how we rolled. So in the NFL agent world, there's really, I mean, maybe now there is, but there was no husband-wife team anywhere. So when we walked into a living room, it was like we were an entirely different story, right? Than like somebody from LA who comes in with a jet or talking about their Miami house or, you know,
bit. Yeah.
that type of stuff, like the nightlife. But when you have a husband-wife team walk in, right? I mean, that's a totally different story. But because of who we were, we did a really good job of recruiting the right players then too. So they were, 99% of them were coming in for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we could support that because we were like this wholesome, educated and experienced, but like a wholesome group.
Midwestern.
Yeah.
Wholesome. That's
Yeah.
so
Wow.
cool.
So you would
Yeah.
show up in these people's living rooms and be like, here's my
Basically.
pitch. This is why you should
Yeah.
work with me. And then they would sign.
You would hope, yeah.
Yeah.
And you go to a lot of the, so my husband, for instance, would travel to so many college games.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
That
you wait in
sounds-
the parking lot, you wait in the tunnel forever.
To just try to get their attention.
Just try and get their attention.
And do they give you the time of day?
Sometimes,
Wow.
sometimes not.
Man, that sounds
Right.
like a lot of energy, a lot of time and energy to bring
Yeah.
to something
and
like that. You're
traveling
spending a
somewhere
lot.
to
Yeah.
try to get someone's attention and
Yeah,
they don't
that
give
you
it to
might
you.
maybe, and then you might have a meeting and then they just might not show.
Oh.
That would crush me.
Wow.
I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I take it
that's-
personally.
Yeah, that feels like
Yeah,
high
that's
risk,
hard.
high reward. I don't
Right.
know. That's
Right. It's not the greatest business model.
really
No.
Okay, so after 12 years, you're like, yeah, we're done with this.
Well, yeah, we separated from our partners and then Scott and I were like, we're going to do something else. I mean, I think we had a really good run with it. We did really well. We had some amazing times that included my family. So because my parents lived right next to Green Bay, anytime there was a team that was visiting Green Bay, the families would stay at our house.
Nice.
And my parents, right, would cater to them.
the Kelseys.
The Kelseys. Yeah,
Oh.
that was one. And my mom's an incredible cook. So she would always bake these pies.
Oh my
and she still
gosh.
does it to this time.
What a
But
winner.
if it was like your team or whatever team it was or their number, she would make the apple pie and like put the inscription on top
Oh
of
my
the pie. They would
gosh.
get their personalized pie or the parents would or whomever was there.
My
That's
gosh.
so cool.
Wow, this is a world I just didn't expect.
So if we go up for a Packer game, can we knock on the door and get like a pie?
Your mom's.
Yeah, you'd have to give me a little advance notice. Yeah. But why would you
I'm
want a
just
pie?
kidding.
You make your own.
No. Therese is shocked like the amount of dessert I have in my home. She's like, why do you have Oreos? I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I like Oreos.
Oh
I
my
eat
gosh.
other stuff. I
Yeah.
don't just eat my own stuff every day.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So after 12 years of this, you're like, okay, this is not a sustainable business model. You decided to step away from your business partners. At that point of your time, were you and your husband like, what in the heck are we going to do next? Or
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we were kind of at the height of the career because of the players that we had on. At that point, we had just a really healthy crew. It just business-wise, we had to separate. So we could have went back in and did our own thing, but it's a small, small world.
is it?
And yeah, really small. I mean, even though, it takes up the entire country, but it's a small world. And we just really weren't interested in it from that aspect anymore. I think it took some of the wind out of our sails. So we had to, kind of like right ship and figure out like, what should we do next? And what did I do next?
Mhm.
Yeah. So what happened after
Wait,
that?
I wanted to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
I know you said you're not going to get into, the whole splitting of your business partnership,
Sure.
but I know you're into mediating now. Did
Yeah.
you use a mediator when dealing with that? And is that what
Yeah,
kind of
that's part of it. Tris.
really?
Yeah, for
See
sure.
that?
That
Yeah.
was
See that
smart.
intuitive you
Yeah.
are.
I wasn't sure if maybe you mediated your own.
No.
Wow.
No, we had mediation to separate the business, and that was something that we had to do. And that was a good, I wouldn't say like great experience, but you learn something from everything, right? So for us to be mediators, having gone through it personally,
Yeah.
like we feel it, man. Like we know that you just want to be heard. Like when there's a dispute, and you know what it is too, if you've ever been in a dispute or an argument, like sometimes you just want to be heard. And if you could just tell somebody, and maybe nothing else happens out of that, but you just got that off your chest.
Yeah.
So we understand like the wanting to be heard, having somebody listen. I mean, that's the other part. And then trying to come up with a solution that would work. So we were very tied to this. I mean, we named it after our kid.
Mhm. Yeah.
These families have lived in our homes. Well, not lived. Well, maybe one stayed for a little bit. But but they've a lot of the families and the players stayed in our parents' homes.
Yeah,
in
there's
our
a lot of
homes.
emotional
Yeah,
attachment to something like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I
Yeah.
even think about it. I've had my business for almost 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
You're 4.5.
Yeah.
The thought of, say, selling my business or splitting from
And
it
having somebody else
Oh.
use your name
Oh.
and everything.
would make me
Tough,
sick.
dude.
I feel
mean,
sick to
Right.
my stomach thinking
Yeah.
about
Right.
it.
And after 12 years and all the cool experiences you
Yeah.
got from something like that, I mean, I just can't imagine. So,
Right. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and that's, I mean, that was hard at the time. And no doubt. I think now, obviously, I mean, that's a long time ago. My perspective and the work that I've done on myself, I'm just a lot better at the non-attachment.
really?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So I don't even harbor any ill feelings.
Wow.
Not at all.
How do
Not
you
at all.
let go of things like that?
Please
Please
teach
talk
us.
to me right now. How do I get this chest pain out?
because this is part of it, right? And maybe it comes from my yoga practice, and you would appreciate this too. But you never have control on what happens at the end of it. You don't. So you have good intentions, right? You lead with the good intentions. That's it. What happens on the other side of that, you have no control. Whether it's hell yeah, that went really well, or that took a dump. Whether it's hell yeah, and you want to take that credit, you can't. You just set it up. You brought the intention, but that is not yours.
Well, that's
Right?
that's so difficult because it's funny. A lot of times when we have successes, I'm talking for myself right
Yeah.
now. It's oh yeah, look at all the hard work I've done. I did it. And then when you don't, you're what went wrong? I did everything right, I thought, but it's hard because I feel so lifted high from the wins, but then, what
Yeah.
brings you up brings you down.
Right. Sure.
So I have been trying to be more even keel because in entrepreneurship, I feel like I have the highest highs and lowest lows. And it's
Absolutely.
I just don't want to, I just want to be in the middle. I'm so sick of having the best day of my life followed by the worst.
I mean, you feel the feels, and you have to let yourself feel the feels. So you have to lean into it I'm watching my words, when it's crappy, right? You have to lean into it. Because if you avoid it and you cover that up, then you never really understand it. So you lean into it when it's crappy for just a little bit. And then you lean into it when it's really great. But it's not yours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to step away from that. It's not yours. You lead with the right intentions, but you have no control on what happens on the other side. So you can make the most beautiful cake, the cutest, blah, 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 for whomever. But if they hate it, they hate it. If they like it, they like it.
Happens
I
more
know.
often than you'd think.
Right. But it's not yours. You led
Yeah.
with, you didn't set out to make the worst cake in the world,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you set out to make the best cake in the world. And that's your intention. And then that's it.
And this is why
I'm
you
gonna
are a
remember
motivation.
that.
You're a
when I
motivational
cry
speaker.
next week.
But that's after work. I mean, takes a lot of work. I'm not born thinking this way. I don't think
How did you
anybody
get to
is.
that point? What kind of work can you tell people to
Yeah.
do?
Gosh, yeah.
I've done just a lot of self-study. I've done online coaching, different programs. I probably have more certifications and degrees and trainings than, I like to learn. And I like to correct myself, and I like to better myself.
I feel like you're also constantly looking inward we just asked you if you listen to a lot of music. You said no. So you listen to silence, which means you're in your own head.
Not just silence, but I don't know. Music doesn't do it
Podcasts.
for me, I guess. I do podcasts because I feel like I'm always I want to learn.
Yeah.
But then I've also learned I do need silence.
Yeah, you
Because
went on a 12-hour walk, right? Is it 12
Correct.
hours?
Yeah. I think you said it was 25 and it wasn't
I
25.
know.
It was 12.
Can you tell everyone
Yeah.
what in the heck that is?
So the 12-hour walk is inspired by this young man. His name is Colin O'Brady, and he's like this top adventurer and professional athlete. Like he's summited like all the top mountains. I don't know their names. Like in record time. He's soloed traveled across Antarctica, like carrying like a 300-pound sled, like on his own.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's horrific. He did something in the Baltic, maybe it was the Baltic Sea. I don't know. But he's like all these adventures and like top high-end feats, right? He's accomplished. His backstory is though, when he was like traveling, he was young, like in his young 20s, and he was in Thailand and he was doing those, you know how they do like jump roping with fire?
Yeah.
Like jump rope, like with a fire, like and it's lit on fire.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen those like at resorts or like, you know how people like play with
Probably.
fire, like ropes or.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
I've seen someone eat fire, yeah.
Yeah. So he like jumped into it. And he wasn't a professional, obviously. And he caught like his whole legs on fire.
Oh my gosh.
And he's in this tiny little town in someplace in Thailand. No like great hospital services. Fast forward, he ends up getting back to the United States, but his doctor said, yeah, it's going to be rough to even walk again. But so then he becomes this like professional triathlete on the U.S. Olympic team.
So he can walk and run.
Oh, yeah.
He gets it all back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And then starts to do all these incredible feats. During COVID, he was like, I mean, everything stopped for him. And one day, and he was like, doom scrolling and checking all that stuff out. You know what was happening to all of us, right? And just really depressed. So one day he's just like, all right, honey, I'm going on a walk. And he left for 12 hours. No, he wasn't listening to anything. So no music, no podcasts, nobody else, not another companion. He just walked. It was 12 hours.
Did he have his phone? Was his wife like,
I don't even know if
Is
he
he
had his
okay?
phone or
Yeah.
not. No, yeah, I think what he says is he did, and he kept getting all these alerts, so he turned it off. Like he went airplane.
his wife was probably like, you good?
That's in person. No, she's probably used to it at that point. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he's just out.
Yeah. So then he came back and he was like a new man. He was like, that's what I needed. Clarity. So the 12-hour walk, which I've done now twice, is you go out on your own. So you don't have a buddy. You can have your phone for like safety, and you can have it hooked up for the GPS, obviously, but you're not listening, talking, checking, anything. So there's no audible support. And you just walk. So usually, and I had a group of people that I recruited to do. I had like 10 people this last time do it. My son did it, which is kind of funny. He's like, after he did it, he's like, I don't know how you did it. And then you recruited 10 people to do this? Like, this is nuts.
Did you walk alongside each other?
No,
or
no.
all at different places?
Yeah.
Oh, I just imagine a big herd of silent
I did
people.
too. I did too.
No.
Can you bring food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can bring snacks.
I don't know.
I stopped into a
Can you bring a
Starbucks.
cookie?
Yeah, and I stopped into another coffee
And you
place.
can talk?
Well, I mean, so when you do, I mean, you're just
Put the
supposed to
cash
have
down.
like limited contact, right? I mean, you're trying to keep the integrity of this. So you're trying to be very internal, obviously. You're solo. So when I did stop in, I literally just like ordered my pike
With cream.
with
yes.
cream, girl.
Yeah, I know.
And then just kind of found a little end table or sat outside. Yeah. What I found and what people have told me, like the first 2 hours is like, okay, I want to check my phone. Like, what am I missing? Like, what's happening, right? Because we're so addicted to that thing. So it's a little uncomfortable. And then you start to like, all right, that's all right. And then a little bit later kind of creeps back in, like, what's happening? How come I haven't heard from somebody? But it's like, there's a lot of focus that you get from that. And I just craved it after this last time. So I walk every day for 45 minutes, usually in the morning. And I do listen to podcasts, but then there's times where I try and do half and half where it's nothing. And I'm just paying attention to nature, just listening to little birds. And
what do you find after the 12 hours? Like what?
after the 12 hours?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not like, so I think some people are thinking like, this
I was.
right. Like this is going to happen. I know what to do with my life. I don't think it's that. I think it's the start of something. For me, I was able to get pretty clear on some new goals that I had. I'm very goal oriented in that aspect. But on this last time, it was just very, what I realized is I need more silence because that was the only time I could think. And it's hard to just like, okay, I'm going to set 30 minutes. And that doesn't necessarily happen that way because you still have the noise, right? The noise is still coming at you. You're still pinging through those 5 conversations. You've got this project going. You're worried about that. So you're not even processing yet. You have to get past that.
Yeah.
So you sit with silence for a while. I do a lot of that moving meditation, which is just walking. So that's why I'm like trying to get to that 25 minutes of just like, shh.
Are you planning to do another one?
Yeah, I have another group that's going to start. We're going to do it in September.
Therese wants to do it.
There you go.
I need everything. I need all the clarity and focus. But
Yeah.
like, gosh,
Would you
like
do it?
It's something I probably would do.
Yeah.
But September would be tough.
Yeah.
September would be tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you say like you're goal oriented, you're trying to like get out the noise. I feel that all the time. I'm like, and I was so glad you were coming here today because I'm like, okay, you're a life coach. So like give me some life coaching
let's work
here.
on
Like,
it. What you
how do
got?
I get the noise? Like the constant overwhelming stimulation of just like constantly being needed. I'll like delete Instagram for days and weeks on
I
end.
see you do that.
Yeah, all the time. And then anytime I go back on, I can feel
Yeah, like you're like here.
yes,
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah. So
constantly.
it kind of feels like it's pressing on your lungs and you can't breathe.
Constantly. Like,
Yeah, you even say it and you press here and then your voice goes a little weak.
oh my
You do
gosh,
it.
seriously?
You do it.
Oh my gosh. I need to up my dosage of ashwagandha. Yeah, I've literally been
I
taking.
think my escitalopram cured me because I don't
What
feel
the heck
it's like
is
actual
that?
anxiety medicine.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not ashwagandha
Yeah, I'm taking like plants. I'm taking
because
plants
I'm
before bed.
good.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way.
Oh no, I've been feeling that way a lot lately. Just with, I mean, in the past year, it's been like on and off.
Yeah.
But the constant overwhelm. But like knowing I have a lot to do. A lot of people are like, "Oh, take a day for yourself," and I do take a day for myself. But that doesn't get the work to go away.
Right.
It's
It's still
constantly there. And so I recently started working with a career coach to like help me
Oh, cool.
through decision making.
Yep.
This specific person was on our podcast and she also owned a wine bar. And
Yep,
so
I know she is. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Like she's been helping me through a lot of decisions because
Awesome.
like I let a
Great
lot
job
of
reaching
decisions.
out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The second she told us she was doing coaching, I was like,
Hi.
yeah. I'm like, hi. That's what I
Yep.
needed.
Yeah.
Because I'm not someone that wants to talk about my stuff. I want like a solution. I want a problem solved.
Yeah.
Like that's how I show love to people, and that's how I want love shown to me. Is like people being like, "Oh, have you tried this, or like I've done this."
Yeah.
So I recommend you doing that. But anyways, do you have any advice for people that are feeling like they have a lot on their plate? They can't silence the noise.
Right. So the first thing is you have to break it down. So I just did this. I did a talk the other day at a little wine bar, right? So I was talking about how to problem solve. You identify the problem, you clear out the clutter, you come up with a plan, right? And then you evaluate. That's basic problem solving. But the first part about identification. So you have to get really, really clear on what it is. So, okay, I'm overwhelmed. All right. What does that mean? In physical life, in work life, in relationship life, in head life? Like, where is it? So you have to spend time doing that. You just like keep writing it out, keep asking the question to somebody, have them bounce it back. So once you get really crystal clear on what it is, it's usually not the first thing you said. It's usually something else. Yeah. Right. It's usually, wait. Right. I have a master's in social work, but it isn't therapy. This is just problem solving. Right. So if you keep like digging it away and literally like clearing out the clutter, you find something that's probably a little bit different than what you led with. But it's that underlying. So then once you identify it, then you have to clear out everything around it. So you get like, it's just there. And then it's no longer a problem. It just is what it is. Again, you take that attachment away from it, right? So you kind of step away from the emotion to it and just, this is what it is. Say it's, so for you, if you say it is your Instagram, it's probably feeling like you don't want to leave somebody hanging.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
I hate that feeling. Yeah.
So it's not Instagram. It's not social media. It's that you don't want to leave somebody hanging.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the many feelings. I don't want to miss out on opportunities,
Right.
sales, not getting back to people. I hate when people think I'm like, you know how you like message someone and they don't message back and you're like, oh, they don't like me. Or like some people might think that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that person that makes someone feel that way.
Right. But you have no idea. You have no control of what they're feeling because that's not your responsibility anyways. So you're going to do the best that you can with your intentions and that's it. But for you, it probably is a better idea to like time block when you're on your social media as opposed to letting it just run your day. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you do that.
No,
I know you take big chunks.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
she
no.
blocks a lot.
I
Yeah.
have tried so many different strategies, so many different things. I have the 30-minute timer, and of course I'd keep clicking like add more time. So then I'll like delete it for a couple of weeks, and then I'll just get
Right.
it for the day, post, then get off. Then I'll
Yeah.
go get it
Yeah.
for the day, and then once I hit the 30 minutes, delete it. So it's like deleted right now. But
Right.
then, yeah, it's so tough. I feel like I'm constantly getting pulled. I'm constantly missing something.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's a whole bear.
Right. So you're wrestling with a couple different things, right?
Well, I'm wrestling with about probably 55 things.
Yeah, I think for you, that's part of your business. It's a lifeline that you have to keep open.
That's the thing. Oh, if
That's
I
the
could
thing
shut
about
it
it.
down,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
You wouldn't in a heartbeat.
But I also,
Mhm.
it's a double-edged sword because I love it. I mean, just like we were talking about with Shelby and, the things she just recently got, Drake.
Right, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I love social media. I think it's like so powerful. But yeah, it sucks creativity and time. And it's just like, oh my gosh. But then it also helps me relax because I can't think of anything else sometimes.
Right.
It's a rabbit hole I won't go down right now. But what I will say is I will probably have to re-listen to this podcast and then like slow it down and hear your 4-step process.
Again,
Yeah. Hear
Yeah.
the 4 or 5.
Identify, clear out the clutter, take action, and then reevaluate. And then you usually have to go back up to 2 and 3. Just problem solving.
Dang.
Yeah.
Should we solve one of your problems now?
I just don't relate to the Instagram thing because
Because it doesn't give you this. Because she kept doing
No.
this.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. Like I have hundreds. I have over 100 emails right now. I have so many voicemails, so many DMs. I just don't really care because I'm doing like
Man.
my best to get back to people. And I'll post like, hey, I'm days behind. Like I'm really tired. I was at the bakery yesterday for like 14 hours. I'm like, and I'm not going to kill myself to go on Instagram and talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There's
I think
other things that bother you.
There's
Not that
other
part.
things,
Yeah.
but like that, I can't
Yeah.
relate to that
Yeah.
because I don't care about leaving people.
I think
on
honestly,
red.
I think my last job left me with a little bit of
Yeah.
I think the
You
word
had
is
that.
actually PTSD. If we didn't respond to people in 24 hours, I would get a talking to.
Sure.
And I would get 100 emails a day. And each one could take an hour because it'd be problem solving and I'd be learning like
Sure.
how to.
Bingo. There it
Yeah.
is.
And I remember I'd get
Yeah,
talked
you're like
to
this
all
little
the time.
conditioned.
Yes. Or like at that beginning of the week, they'd give me like, say, 50 things on my to-do list. I'd meet with my manager 7 a.m. in the morning, go through my 50 things on my to-do list. And then Friday afternoon, they'd be like, hey, what happened to the, you did 48, but what happened to the 2 that you couldn't get to? And I would be like,
Right.
Just
So your
stay
best was never good enough.
it was never good
Yeah.
enough. And that is something
Right. So you're still
I should actually stop talking about because I'll tear up.
Yeah.
I'll tear up.
right. So Teresa's the best that you're still like the best was never good enough. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
woo,
Yeah.
woo.
Right on.
Take a
That's
sip.
good. So that's a good point. But that's a really good spot for you to talk with your career coach. So
Yeah.
bring that back to
Oh
her.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. No, that's real.
It's hot in here. My eyes are sweating.
Yeah.
Someone chopped up an onion, Shelby.
Bring that back to your coach.
Oh my gosh.
That's your spot.
I feel like we got somewhere
yeah,
here.
yeah. No, I literally think the
Yep.
title of this podcast is going to be like Therese had her breakthrough.
Ta-da!
Oh
Breakdown.
my gosh. So everyone
Yeah.
book Shawn. Book Shawn for your
Yeah.
purpose
But
coaching.
it's just talking it through. So see what you did? You just kept talking it
my
through.
gosh,
you just
I'm gonna have to
kept
call my
talking it
boyfriend
through.
right after this and have a long conversation. He's really good at listening. So
There you go. Yeah.
anyways, let's proceed to a different topic. Okay, warm.
So we got. I'll take it off.
Yeah.
This is some Oprah crap.
You dry your eyes off from their sweat.
Shawn, you're powerful. Oh my gosh.
So we left at your recruiting career. You end up splitting from your partners,
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for something
Okay.
that you're going to do next.
Yeah.
Where does that take you?
Well, in that time, I was I got trained to be a yoga instructor, and I did like all the trainings, like every single one that Dragonfly had to offer, and then some.
How did
So-
you find Dragonfly?
I was
Did you
like in my
employee number
backyard.
one?
I mean, it's basically in my backyard. The studio was right there by
Do
my
you
gym.
live over here right now?
Not over here. I live
Oh.
more like close to the Fitchburg studio.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first studio.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, weren't you like one of the first employees?
One of them.
Longest
I
standing.
mean, I'd been there for a while.
Yeah, since
So
like, the
were you
beginning.
doing yoga before and
was
you saw this
practicing.
and you were like, hey,
Yeah,
this
I was
looks
practicing
cool.
there, and then
Okay.
the first training I took was yoga up because that was like weights and cardio, and that was I was doing a little bit of that on my own, so I really liked it. And I had been in Oh, in college, I taught step aerobics, and you two probably don't even know what that is.
No, I knew step aerobics.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, do you have like the thing that's on off the ground?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had to do that in gym class. I was in
Yeah.
fitness fusion, and
Yeah.
all of us girls would just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
did
taught
that in high
aerobics
school.
and step
Yeah,
aerobics
yeah.
in college.
Oh, okay.
So I had a little bit of that experience. So then I went into the first training, which was yoga up. Loved it. And I got to start teaching there.
That's
and I was
what
like,
Shelby likes.
yeah. Yeah.
I prefer that over like yoga, like flows. I
Yeah.
cannot stand flows.
I love
Yeah.
flows.
Because it's like, okay, now sit in child's pose. Now we're going to do a tree. And I'm
Give
like,
me a
can you
yin.
make me
me a
sweat
flow.
more and like feel like I'm doing something?
Yeah.
When I'm in yoga, I don't ever feel like I'm like doing anything.
All right. So now we just found the sweet spot for you.
So, exactly. Shawn, I need to
Yoga
rat her out.
and yin.
I need to rat her out.
Yin is
Let me talk to you about
literally-
something. Oh my
Yin
God.
is the worst
Listen to
Yeah.
thing.
this.
Girl, now you need to go.
Oh,
These are
gosh.
your two.
No,
Yeah.
listen to this. So I got Shelby and we had a spa day one time. Okay. I
Oh,
was,
yeah.
so we had a spa day at this local place and I got us an extension pack to put us in a sauna for like 40 minutes, a steam
It was
room
an hour.
for an
That was
hour.
an
I was
hour.
like, Shelby, I got this free extension. It's literally, we go in the hot room, then we go in the cold
Yeah,
shower.
yeah, yeah.
We were like, I
Love
don't
it.
think we were butt naked, but
No, we had robes on, but then it was like for couples. So like, when you go in the shower, obviously you can't wear your robe. So we'd be like, okay, you stay in the sauna. I'm gonna go in the, and we'd be like,
and we
okay,
get
I'm
shot
going
from like
in.
6 different showers on
Be
us.
like, okay, I'm going in. Don't come out. And I'd be like, I'm coming, Therese.
So, anyways, I'm totally looking forward to this. I had just gotten done with my massage, and it wasn't even like a massage. They just rubbed oil on us for an hour.
and they whispered in your ears. It
No,
was
they-
my lady was.
Anyways,
It was an interesting.
So-
I
experience.
wouldn't like that.
The
I don't want
point-
anybody whispering in my ear.
I didn't like.
the point of this is this though. So we're in there. I'm like, this is pure bliss. I'm like,
Okay.
Shelby, open up. Like, what's going on? And Shelby's like, I'm bored. I'm like, you have a problem. You have a condition, and she can't sit still. She
Yeah.
can't sit still, and so that's why when you say she needs yin and flow, can you expand on
Well, I
that?
had 500 things to do that day, and I'm like, I'm sitting in a hot room, sweating my butt cheeks off. Why am I sitting here? And then I got to go freeze my butt cheeks in the shower. And Therese is there going,
You're just one big
Shelby,
walking
open
butt
up. I'm like, I don't want
But
to talk
we got
to
her
you.
to break through. We got her to break through.
How?
I finally, I think after 40 minutes, I was like,
You just
Shelby,
broke her
I said,
down.
I paid for this. Sit down. And finally, she's like, so this is what's really going on in my life. And I was like,
See, it just
Thank
took
you.
her a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's a hard shell to crack.
Yeah. And that probably is the same thing, like for you to do a flow or a yin.
Hate
It might,
it.
Oh
look,
my-
it's going to take you a couple times to do it.
It'll take a couple years.
Right. But once, like, honestly, like you sit into one of those sometimes and then your mind starts going into the place that you're like, just chill. Like you are paying attention to your breath. You're paying attention to where it's going.
Mhm.
Your thoughts aren't like ruminating into
I'm gonna be
this
totally
negative
honest.
stuff.
When we do that in like yoga and they're like, okay, now we're gonna do like 10 breaths or whatever. My thought is like, I can hear the lady next to me going,
Wait, that's
and
me.
I'm like, I hate it. And I can't focus on my own because I'm like, I hear
It's normal.
Jim
That's
Bob over
totally
here
normal.
and
That's
Betsy
totally
Sue over
normal.
here.
It's totally normal.
And I'm
Are you
like,
at the
Jim Bob
barn?
had some onions. And I don't like that.
no.
You're normal.
Oh my gosh.
You're normal.
Honestly, though, that's funny you say that. I've been to a yoga class in Texas once where they didn't ever speak English. They just used Sanskrit language.
Oh,
so they were
yeah.
like,
Oh, man.
and everyone was like, it was like crazy. And Dragonfly's not like that.
No, I
Like,
know.
it's
I'm
pretty
being
mainstream.
dramatic.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
mainstream.
Anyways,
Yeah.
but that's how,
Yep.
I like to just constantly be doing stuff. I
Yep.
don't like to like sit and
Yeah.
like,
I think it's a growth
think.
thing. It
Yeah.
comes with time. There's no doubt about it. But you can start into some of those and see how you do.
Yeah.
I'll start with a flow.
Wait,
not
what's
a
your
yin.
favorite one now? Because you teach flow.
Yeah. I mean, I teach power flow, circuit up, power up, and yin at Dragonfly. So those are the classes. Man,
What's your
I
favorite?
love them all though. Circuit up was my baby because I started that with my friend Kimmy Cat.
That
So the
one's
two of us
hard.
created that one.
Oh, really?
So for that reason, like that's like,
Wow.
and that incorporates everything. Like I can bring in weightlifting, I can bring in bar because I used to teach bar. I can bring in yoga, I can teach
that's my
cardio, I
favorite.
teach weight. I like everything. So I really like circuit up. But then there's like some days, man, I'll teach a flow class and all the energy in there. So say you have 45 bodies.
the hot room.
Yeah. Well, it's hot. Yeah. But there's something that's electric and you can feel it and everybody's feeling it and the music's right and my words are right.
You're always funny. You crack jokes.
Yeah.
I like
I mean,
when you're-
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
You
But then
do.
just like, there's just like something great that happens. Like I can just, I'll leave that class. I'm like, that to me was amazing. So there's times, I don't get to have those times all the time, right? which I don't think is, that would be too many gifts, but every now and again I get that gift and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's whenever I'm in class.
Yeah.
It's what? Oh,
Like this last one.
oh my gosh. Yeah. No, there will be sometimes when I leave though, I'm like, oh, that was transformative. Or like my hamstrings are an additional 4 inches. Like,
Right.
And I don't know what it is. It's like I actually am breathing through it. I'm not thinking about other things. But that's why I work out right in the morning or do yoga right in the morning because my mind isn't.
It's the best for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to, I guess, like at my last job, I would do it at the end of the day to like settle the chest.
Yeah.
But I like to start my day that way because then I'm not in panic mode all day long.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for you.
So with yoga, was that your next full-time thing then?
That was something that I was doing on the side, a little bit, yeah. And then, so I did a lot of yoga trainings and all the trainings. And then I became a strength coach because I had worked with my coach has been my coach for, 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I've worked with him for a long time. And then I kind of came on board and I was doing some PR stuff there because that was more natural for me. And then I was invited to become a strength coach. And then I've been doing that for a while, which I love.
Okay.
I love my team.
Aren't you like an Olympic lifter?
Olympic, yeah. I read something
that
about
mean?
that.
Right. Olympic lifting.
Yes.
Not
What does
like
that
the
mean?
Olympics.
Right. What does that mean though? Like you're doing like the big
Right. There's 2 moves. It's a clean and jerk and a snatch.
that.
So there's 2.
wow.
Right. There's 2 things that you do primarily. There's 2 main lifts, but you work all around those. Yeah.
Okay. So you do other lifts to help with those lifts.
Yeah. My husband, in the meantime, when he was doing the NFL, he started working with street artists, like helping that. He just found some artists that were really cool, like street artists, like graffiti. Right. So he started helping them with their business acumen. And so when, like right before COVID, I helped him launch a street art company. We sold artists from Lithuania. We had an artist that was in Lithuania to Miami to San Diego. It's like all over. Collected a bunch of artists that he had brought together to help them. And so we ran that for a little while.
So he was
still dabbles in that.
managing artists then.
Yeah, he was
to sell
managing
art.
artists.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's-
street artists.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we did that for a while, and then COVID came, and that changed a lot of things, like how it was running. Yeah, so that was happening for a while. And then recently we put together a mediation business because we wanted to work together.
Wow.
He's got a law degree. I have my master's degrees in social work and public administration. So like that would be a good balance for us.
Yeah.
How is it working with your husband? With
I love it.
family
That's
like
why I
that?
wanted to.
Can you
I
explain?
think he's the smartest man in the world. So
Really?
yeah.
So can you explain to me how that dynamic is? Because I feel like people that work together, it's
Yeah.
either great or it's like tears their marriage apart.
We have a hell of a lot of respect for each other. We do. We always have. And we've been, since we were 20, like 30 years old, and we're both 52 now. So 22 years of working side by side. So I really don't know anything other. We've had our separate things going. I mean, I've done work with startups. I've done other things too, but we've primarily always had a business together. So that's why he wanted to do another business that we could put our 2 talents together
Wow.
and do mediation. So that's what we're in the process of right now.
So what's the secret sauce to
The secret sauce?
a marriage like that?
It's respect. It is. I mean, he's going to have his things. I'm going to have my things, right? But it's just respect at the end of the day.
Wow.
Yep.
That was a quick answer.
Yeah. We're going to have now
It's
a
not
marriage
complicated.
segment.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's not complicated. It is. It's just respect.
Mic drop.
Okay, my last question.
Yeah.
Where did the adult probation officer come in? Like we went through and now I'm like, okay, where does this fit?
That was right after college because I did work. I started like in the criminal justice field. I worked with juveniles.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of different in group homes or in detention centers. So that was the start of. And then
makes sense because social work, isn't that kind of like an area that you can go?
Yeah. So like back then, criminal justice was a little different than social work. Just that like criminal justice was more punitive and social work is more like restorative and helpful. I think because I had a degree in social work that when I entered into criminal justice, I saw it more from like helping people help themselves. And I liked that. So that's kind of where I was like starting that process. And as an adult probation officer, I was really able to do that because they had things that they had to get done, right? That was ordered by the court. So I could either be punitive in nature, right? Which doesn't really help anybody, or you can help them figure out a way. Because a lot of times were there for different situations. Like not always 100%. Their intention was to do bad things, right? Drug or alcohol situation, poverty, etc.
And how do you not get attached to situations like that where you're helping people through such difficult things?
Yeah, and you do, and I did, for sure. There's no doubt about it. I mean, some things and some people I got really attached to. I was a lot younger. But I think probably I had a good boss. So we had, our department was run by a man named Neil Hannon, and he was really hands-on with all of us. And we were young. I mean, I was like 26. Managing adult felons, right?
I'm feeling young.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but I think a lot of credit goes to the boss I had at the time. He kept us pretty level-headed.
Man, to be this age managing adult felons.
You're 27 now.
I know.
Right? You'd be a vet by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's where my calling is. But wow, that's pretty crazy. How long did you do that?
Probably, I don't know, 4 years maybe.
And
Something like that.
then did the recruiting.
And then we moved to Colorado,
Yeah, okay.
and I was a PR director for like the largest human service provider along the Front Range. It was a homeless shelter, but we were the big one. It was a rescue mission. So I did communications for that for a lot of years. And again, that was just like helping people help themselves, but I did it from the PR platform. So I got to speak to, I did all the news and help my CEOs do that.
Honestly, what I really want to know is like, what's your morning routine? Because I feel like you're someone that accomplishes so much. You're very goal oriented.
It's very specific.
Okay, I got to
Give
give
it.
this. Yeah, this
All right.
is great.
So it's 5 a.m.
Every day.
except Sundays.
Okay.
What's Sunday?
It's like
5:30?
6:30 or so. I don't set the alarm. So 5 a.m. Then you really want okay.
Yeah,
okay.
every single detail.
All right, so
and
5
then I wanna go
a.m.
through yours.
Right. So 5 a.m. And then I just kind of like, if the kitchen's a disaster, I kind of just organize that as I get my coffee ready. And then I brew my coffee. While that's brewing or when I have it, I try and step outside first because you want to get outside first, like within like the first 30 minutes if you wake up. And I do out loud gratitudes.
Oh.
How many?
It depends.
Whatever
Sometimes
she's
it's just
thankful
one.
for.
Yeah. But sometimes it's just one. Sometimes it's like pouring out.
Therese wants the exact.
Okay.
How much coffee? What do you say?
I was going to say,
usually
is it
three.
drip coffee or French
All
press?
right. There's usually 3. That's a Keurig.
Oh.
I wish I was doing French press, dude, but I'm not there.
Okay.
Maybe I will.
Okay.
That's a good goal. So then I come back in because I stepped outside for just a short second.
Even if it's pouring rain.
Or it's just underneath my deck.
Umbrella.
Yeah, it's fine.
What about snow?
Well, yeah. Just quick.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I come back in and then I write, I have a gratitude journal. So then that one right now prompts me for 3. And then it asks me like, what 3 things would be great that would happen today. So then you set yourself up for what your expectations are. And then there's a mantra, like, what's my mantra? Right. So then I do those. And then I have 10 pages of nonfiction reading.
This is like 75 hard stuff.
This
It
is.
is. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's rooted in that.
okay.
And then then I can have my phone and start doing my work. Right. And I have a little system that I go through.
I need
and
to
then
know
there's
what
2
that
cups of
is.
coffee.
I need to know what that system is.
Yeah. Then I usually look at emails first, text, emails, Facebook, Instagram, because I have different accounts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I scroll through the business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I go for a walk for 45 minutes
And then
outside every day.
when do you get your other workout in? I mean, you must do 2 workouts
Yeah.
a day, is it then?
But then I'm home by like 7:15.
in the morning.
Yeah, I got all that done.
Oh, wow.
And then it just depends. I mean, there might be something that happens at 8:30 or it's like 2:00 or if there's a flow class or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does your teaching flow or something like that, does that count as a workout for the day? Girl,
No, you can't count that.
you're doing the moves.
Yeah, but not really.
You are. I see you up there get
2
lower in
seconds.
chair, get lower. I'm like,
Okay, but for 2 seconds. No. 2 seconds in there. I usually, when I teach a flow or other classes, I like to coach more and I like to watch bodies and to be able to cue better. So if I see something and my words aren't helping them get to where I think they would feel it better and I'm walking the room, then I'm going to be a much better instructor. If I'm up there just trying to show that I can keep up with them. I mean, nah. I'd much rather walk around and help figure out, like, help them help themselves, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Okay.
My question is, what kind of person, so you're doing purpose coaching now,
Yep.
is kind of like your main thing.
Yep.
So it sounds to me.
Yeah.
what kind of person or someone who might be interested, what would you tell them? When is it time to come talk to you?
So I would say these are just different situations, right, that I've kind of come up with. If you're stuck, like you can't figure out where you're happy, you can't figure out what you want to do next. If you maybe feel not great in your body and that's keeping you from something, you don't feel great about your confidence level and that's keeping you from doing the things you really want to do. Say you want to make a career change. Say you're getting ready for college. Like there's like how to attack procrastination and set up tasks. Any of those situations.
Yeah, it's unlimited.
I mean, it really is unlimited. So like a purpose coach is really an accountability coach, right? You just have somebody who's like your biggest freaking cheerleader, but holding you to the line. And friends are hard to get to do that because a friend will be like, oh, that's okay. I understand. That was hard. That would have been hard for me too.
Am I like that?
No.
I'll hold you to the line.
Right.
She's hard.
Right. But if you have an accountability person, like I'm lucky I have coaches that I work with, right?
Multiple?
Yeah. I mean, like I have strength coaches that I work with.
Yes.
Right. So I have like that aspect, but a lot of those strength coaches too also know me personally and know other things that I'm working on. So I have some good accountability. And I also have friends that like are certain ones are my accountability friends.
Yeah.
So it's just really having somebody who's, again, your biggest cheerleader, who kind of can see the forest with all the trees, or see the trees. How do you say it? See the forest amongst the trees. Help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He sees the lay of the land a little bit better than you, without the emotion, and then checking back in. Did you do it? And if not, why? Let's like figure it out. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What gets you out of bed every day? Like, what's your purpose?
Freaking love what I'm doing. I love helping people. I love coaching. I love teaching. I love my kids they're little entrepreneurs. I love following what they're doing. I'm excited for what Scott and I have coming. So that's what I love. And I have become this very intentional person. There's really nothing I do there's nothing I do in my day that doesn't have intention. So I say no to the things that don't work.
I need some advice on that.
Oh, I say no all the time, dude.
We need to talk about
Say
that.
no all the time. Because if it doesn't line up with my values or with my intentions, that is a waste of time on my end and then the other person's time. But when I say yes, that's such valuable time for the both of us because I'm in it.
Yeah, you're very in it. You're
I'm
always
in it. I
in
won't
it.
do things that I don't want to do. I just don't.
Oh, I feel like with turning 27, that's like one of the things I'm trying to do is like cut out the
It feels
crap.
good.
Yeah, but I
get rid of shit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do all the time.
Man.
I have no problem with that.
I
Because
love
again, it's
saying
not the
yes, though.
attachment. It's I don't have the attachment to that anymore. It's just if it doesn't fall in line with what I want to do, then I'm not doing it. Because that's unfair to that other person or that other company or whatever. They can find somebody who wants to be involved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
That was great.
Well, you're great.
Yeah, I could really dig into a lot more.
Yeah, you've got
Problems.
good stuff. You have both good questions, the both of you. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
You do a
you-
good job.
Good.
Good answers.
Thanks.
You have a good life.
answers.
You have a whole lot of life that thanks for sharing with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So Shawn, where can people find you? And if people are interested in coaching, how can they go about getting that ball rolling?
Purpose Coach Shawn. That's my Instagram handle. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I mean, all the social, except Threads. I did not get there yet.
I didn't
no,
either.
not even.
Dang it.
Don't
I'm
even
not
know about
touching it.
I don't think I am. But social media, Purpose Coach Shawn. And I mean, if there's anybody has any questions or about the events or about doing the 12-hour walk, I'd love to talk about that.
Or the 75 hard,
the
which
75
we didn't even
hard.
get into.
That's
which,
right. It's pretty
my
basic.
gosh.
I mean, anybody can Google that one.
How many times have you done it though? Just tell me that.
Well, I did the first program and then I did phase 1 and now I'm in phase 2 right now. Yeah.
Everyone look that up if you're curious.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
intense. It's intense. Cool. Well, thank you, Shawn,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much for
Yeah.
all that information.
Fun.
Yeah. And Shelby, where can everyone find us?
You can find us at Screw It, Let's Do This on Instagram,
YouTube.
YouTube.
is definitely the best
Watch us
place.
there.
And everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button once we get to 1,000 subscribers.
We have a
something
surprise,
fun
yeah.
planned. So definitely do that.
Yep.
Tell everyone you know how to do that. And Shelby, where can people find you?
You can find me at Mickey's Bakes.
And you can find me at Tricky Foods. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next
Bye.
Wednesday. Bye.